Chapter 38. I head inside and the store is full of customers as usual. My head is swirling with the information Chris gave me. He wants me to be his. But deep down I don't know if I want to be his because I have no idea if I am able to live in his world. To be the woman he wants me to be with all the things I still consider torture. I still don't know if I really want this. But still, why now? I mean, Chris and I knew each other for over 3 years. I can remember when I first laid my eyes on him. It was never loved at first sight, he was still the same ill-mannered man as I know now. I recall when I first started college all the way back to when I was a freshman. I was heading to class when that same ill-mannered man bumped into me, completely smacking my right shoulder, and he did not even apologize. At that time, I was too angry that I did not realize how handsome he was until I had the same class as him. When I entered the classroom full of students, I was so nervous that I felt like hiding in my own little bubble. Then when I turned my head toward the row of seats, there he was, Christopher Sauve, looking handsome as ever. Just imagined him now, however, a younger version of Chris with black hair and blue eyes, but with fewer tattoos, and not as muscular as he is now. He was sitting next to a single open seat, and as I walked down the aisle to introduce myself to him was when a girl with dirty blonde hair sat where I was going to sit. Can you guess who it was? If you guessed Meg, then you're correct. I just did not know her name, until now, but as you can tell I have always not liked Meg. I thought that was my chance to get to know the rude boy who slammed into my shoulder, and maybe then he would apologize, but no, that did not happen. Instead, what actually happened was Meg had told me, and I quote, "Go find another seat because this seat is already taken." Back then, I was not the girl who would fight back. It wasn't until my parents died that I started not to let anyone push me around. You could say I have tough skin now. Instantly after she told me to go, my glance met his, meeting those blue eyes full of revulsion that I had to quickly turn away. Looking for another seat, I kept my eyes down. I was bewildered by the antagonistic stare he'd given me. Alternately, I decided not to be preoccupied with those belligerent blue eyes staring down at me as I sat in the row above him. I tried to take notes, but I caught him occasionally peeking up at me with his aggressive glare. It was a look of a sudden fierce, unreasoning hatred washing through him, and I had assumed it was because of me, and the whole time I was wondering what I did wrong. We never spoke to each other. He would always just stare at me like a creep without even saying a word. I thought he always hated me for some strange reason until that day I dropped my books and he helped me. Since that day, he follows me everywhere I go, wants to know my business, and not to mention the fact that he wants me. Still, after all these years, that question keeps popping into my head: why now? Is everything okay? What did Chris do now? Camille asks when she is standing here in front of me and has her hands crossed looking concerned. My thoughts about Chris drift off like a wave that washes over me. I blink a couple of times to comprehend what Camille just said to me. I had mentioned to Camille about the boat scene, except I left out the intimate parts. No one should know about the intimacy Chris and I have shared because it's only meant for only us. Everything is fine, Camille, I tell her. I can clearly see everything is not fine, Camille says curtly. I can see the worry in her caramel eyes. It's actually daunting. I feel a sharp pain of unease. This was something I have never encountered before. Sure, I was going to tell her that Chris wants me to be his and maybe even his own personal sex slave. Come on, get real. Maybe I am mental. I shrug at the thought. I decided to give her some information since I know she will keep asking me questions. Well, tonight is going to be a party, I say lamely, and quickly look away from her face. Alright, I know I am not telling her about Chris, but I can't bring myself to confess to Camille that he's a guy I should trust, or should I run for the hills from him? She raises an eyebrow. Other party. You did not go to the last one. I know, but I thought tonight you can give me the makeover you intended to offer me the first time I got invited to the party, I say in a low voice. Instead of worriedness in her eyes, they are full of glee. She grabs my hand and says, "Then let's go do the makeover now." Now? I ask, surprised. Yes, now before you change your mind, she mutters, hauling me to the door. Wouldn't your dad get mad? I protest and I can hear the deep concern I have in my own voice. I own half of this store. Besides, he can manage it, she insists, pulling me out the door and towards her car. Oh goodness. This is going to be bad, very bad. I just know it.